This is 2019, right?
Yeah. It was released last year, but it's called 2019 Flow.
Before you leave, gotta follow. If we leave here tomorrow without saying I love you, that's a hard pill to swallow. I guarantee y'all ain't seen this before.
Whoa, okay.
With my niggas who keep it real from the dough. And all the ladies show me love, girl, forget your ex. Just hit me on the text and you'll see what's next. I be killing this, I be killing some. With the flick of the wrist, I just get it done. In plenty situations, never need a gun. An easy situation never made me run. Hating ass nigga, what you looking at?
You're not tuned into the Activated Podcast.
Nigga, why you cooking crack?
Right now, you're listening to my guest here in the studio.
Some people
sound like he got some heat with him.
Sometimes you gotta turn down light.
Y'all let me know what y'all think when y'all hear this. All right?
I got a vendetta to be better than I was. I'd rather put my time in this and getting head off in the club. I remember seeing niggas I look up to take a shot.
Hey.
And they miss. It was then I knew I had to make it hot. I've been a smart cookie since a young nigga. My mama's mama ain't never raised a dumb nigga. I got a dream.
Woo!
Woo!
That was in that.
You like that one better?
That was good.
Yeah.
That was absolutely. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like going into it, like before we get into everything else, it's like I'm kind of skeptical about people's music. To be honest with you, because I think a lot of local artists don't put in time.
You're now tuned into the Activated Podcast with your host, Ibou. I hope you're ready. As if we still have it. Let's go.
Before we get into obviously what up? You're not tuned into the Activated Podcast. It's your boy Ibou, live and direct. Of course, not only have you just heard the music from my guest that's in the studio, that's a cue to know that we're actually face to face, which makes for these better, dope conversations.
Yes, sir.
COVID is starting to be a little bit behind us, so we're starting to get back to, the thing and how things are supposed to be built. I know I hate the Zoom thing and everything like that.
Me too.
And my guest came in today. He got a whole crew. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell y'all something, right? This is what I aspire to be. Okay. He got management. He got artist director. He on live. Honestly, incredible. And it's good to see that. I know there was a time when I started podcasting and people didn't even know what it was, to the point where it's at now. And then, we're able to build and to get to the level that we're at. So big up to you for that. So,
thank you.
And I'm looking forward to what I think was going to be a dope, incredible conversation, of course, nonetheless.
Yes.
And also, they brought me some gifts. So they brought some gifts, some face mask. This is by Afro Apparel face masks on Instagram. Make sure you go check them out. I got 2 of them. So if you actually tune into the podcast while you're listening in, the first person that actually goes and comment on the podcast when I post it on Instagram, make sure you follow Activated Podcast. I'll actually be giving away 2 of these face masks. So I'm going to pick the first 2. First 2, go over there, comment what you thought about the episode, and then you get some free dope face masks. You know what? I might keep one. I might just give y'all one, okay? But we'll figure it out. But nonetheless, in the studio with me, I have Arys, fellow podcaster. He came here with his whole team. He's fasting, so we're trying to make his time a little bit worth a while. And of course, we have in the studio in here with me Arys.
Arys
Déjan.
Déjan.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you for that. Turn me up a little bit in the headphones if you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get an artist in here and they tell you to turn you up in the headphones.
You know. We know the lingo. Thank you for having me, sir. I'm doing well. Arys Déjan. So
Arys Déjan.
Thank you for having me today and the crew. Shout out to the Quiet Council in the background.
Big shout out to them, and I don't know who I was. I don't know who I was emailing with back and forth, but and I hope I wasn't because I know sometimes it took long to respond, but that's because for me it's a one man show kind of thing. But honestly, it's dope to see that, to commend you on even being a podcast, but having an actual team to look after you, I think is important. Let's start from
we're coming. We're coming. They're not ready for us.
That's a fact.
We're coming.
Let's start from the beginning. Because even me, I'm going to get to know you through this conversation, of course.
Yes.
Break it down for me, Arys Déjan.
Arys Déjan.
Who's this person? If you might break it down to the unknown.
Who is Arys Déjan? Arys Déjan is a guy who loves to create, who has a vision for himself and the people around him.
Yeah.
You know, a guy who never stops. A guy who kind of uses his trials and tribulations to his advantage to kind of fuel the fire, to like just keep on going and to never quit.
Yeah.
And to hopefully inspire people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A person who tries his best to be as honest as possible, not only with other people, but with himself, you know, and just a builder, a person who builds and just keeps the momentum going in life when it comes to life, love, you know, relationships, the work that I do, just creating, you know. I just love to be in a creative space. So yeah.
So I know, like, when I got introduced to you, first thing I stumbled on is the music.
Yeah.
And then I started listening to music. I was like, oh, okay, like, it's not bad. So, and now I'm trying to connect the dot as to now, and now you also do your podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And congratulations to you. I see recently you celebrated 50 episodes.
Yes.
It's a big
we
feat.
reached the milestone.
I
The
feel like
Club. Yeah.
once you go past, what would you say, like 20 episodes? 25, you feel like you're gonna be there? Because some people
go.
No, what's the number for y'all? I'm just curious.
50 is the number. 50 is the number.
You feel like when you hit 50, you're a podcaster, you're solidified.
You're gonna have to name this episode.
Yeah.
We're coming. Like 50 was the benchmark, and I knew from that point on, like the moment 50 hit, it's as if like I saw the future in a sense, where like I knew that the moment 50 hit, things would start to pick up. Like the team would be solidified. The plans that I always set in my mind would start to accomplish and like to be present, and like we would get to that point. So 50 is my episode in my mind. I always had that from day one. Like if I could get to 50, I could accomplish anything.
How hard was it to get to 50? Like, was it because for me, I think I got to 50 my first year. So when I first started, it was like, oh, I'm gonna give you an episode every week.
Yes,
that was all I cared about. That was the goal for me. So I hit 50 rather quick, and then I kind of like, now I look back and I go, okay, I've done that. And for me, other things have started to open up.
Yes.
And just to keep it real with myself, I knew that I couldn't consistently give y'all a weekly episode.
It's impossible.
Right? Like I'm traveling, I'm vlogging, I'm editing videos, I'm hosting shows.
Especially when you're doing it on your own.
And then it's everything on me. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give y'all a bi-weekly episode. And even at that, I've kind of failed at it. But to a point, I don't even acknowledge that, in the sense that, like, it's not a failure, because with so much thing going on, like I don't feel guilty to not do it, kind of thing. You
said failure?
At first, right? Like you start to think like, damn, man, I'm letting
you beat yourself up.
Yeah, you beat yourself up. You're like, yo, like, you know, you got people texting you, you got people commenting, yo, when we get in the next one.
But then do you feel like they kind of gravitate to your not scheduling per se, but like if they follow you, they follow you.
Yeah.
They're gonna listen. You're gonna get new listeners and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's like, it kind of feels good when you wake up in the morning and you're like, yo, I created this thing and I could do it whenever I want to. You know, like there's like a 50-50 relationship. You're doing it for the people, but you're doing it for yourself. And it's like your job, like, but you're working for yourself. Yeah. So you can move at your own pace, and everything happens for a reason. So if the episode didn't get released this week, there's a reason for that. Maybe the energy wasn't there. Maybe there's a certain topic coming up next week that you don't know, but the universe is going to present it to you, and you're like, oh, that's why that episode didn't come out, because I want to talk about this, and this resonates with me. So I feel like I don't beat myself up about it as much anymore, but that 50 benchmark was really the start of the Who and How Club, I feel. Because before that, like, it took me a while to get to it, not because of the spacing of the episodes, but just like the renditions of my show. Like I went through 2 shows before I got to the show that I'm at now.
Oh, really?
Talk
to me about that. What was the first? So the Who and
How Club.
The Who and How Club is the third
iteration
of the initial podcast.
My initial idea. Yeah, just an idea that I had, you know. So like, some might say, you could even say like 3.5, because it's the third 0.5 version, because initially I wanted this show I wanted to create like a podcast for youth. and I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't gonna host it. I was just gonna produce it, and I didn't get that opportunity to do that. But I said, you know, that podcast feeling was still inside.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why don't I create my own show and host it myself, you know, and maybe create a space for people to come on.
That's
and
a fact. Okay.
I involved a lot of people, and, you know, the show was initially like on the radio, you know, and I didn't like the limitations of radio. Yeah. So it didn't survive that long. And the people that I wanted to bring on, they didn't see my vision. Like, it's my baby, you know, it's my idea.
They didn't get it.
It just created a lot of friction, and it's okay, you know, like maybe I didn't get it, maybe I didn't get what they wanted either, so it was a mismatch. So we fast forward to today, and it's like I made a decision to do my own thing, and we're here, and there's been so much success, and now if you build it, they will come. Like I think that's a Field of Dreams quote, like from that movie. So now the team's here. Did you okay, so that was the third round. So but when you first initially started, there was no team per se. It was just I tried.
But how, so here's my curiosity. Even me as a fellow podcast, I'm learning from what you're saying.
Yes.
How do you, so my issue is that I've had to learn everything because people don't understand the vision when there's no money attached to what you're trying to create. So it's hard for me to be like, yo, this is gonna work. Trust me, and have people dedicate time like you would, because people start to lose interest after money is not involved, because that's what their goal is. They'll tell you like, oh no, I got this great dream, but they really want money.
Yeah,
right?
Can we swear on this?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish my sound effects not working. Goddamn it.
Welcome.
Yeah. And it's like. So I went through the process of having to learn everything, and to me, I think it makes
you were forced to. I
had to. Yeah. It was like either I do that to survive, or the podcast
is done
from before it started. So that's interesting to see that you were. How easy was it to convince people to align to what your vision is? Because, like I said, I see the team here, right? Like, you know what I mean. You gotta. It's a big deal to not even like there's a team, but people to support you per se. Oh, you're laughing.
I think.
So, did I poke at something?
No, just it's not easy. I don't want to use the term easy because it's not. I think, like I said, I've been through that phase, the money thing, like coming across people who just want the money, and like they'll present it as if like, oh yeah, we're in it for the creation of it, and we do see the vision, but you gotta pay me. But it's like, I'm not even paying myself. Who are you for me to pay you right now? But I get it. People need to survive, and they want to be paid off their art. I'm not gonna take away from that. But the mission was always to find people who had a common goal that saw past like what is in front of them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's not easy to come across that. So I feel like I'm blessed to have the people that are in this room today. And it's never felt forced. Like anybody prior to this unit that's with me right now, it's always felt forced. What I have right now, it's just the stars aligned. And like I said, if you build it, they will come. I also have this skill. Like I could convince Peter that his name is Paul. I have that skill. So when people,
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
I mean, people feel like you might see something in someone that they don't see in themselves. Okay. So
you okay. I see what you're saying.
You have to be able to
bring that out of somebody.
Yeah, just like fanning the flame, you know, and putting a battery pack in people. I know how to inspire people because I inspire myself. Yeah. And people inspire me. I know what inspiration looks like, and I could see something in someone that they might not see. And like you were saying earlier about like this working, like if you know it's gonna work, you'll do everything in your power to show other people that, yo, this is gonna work. Yeah. And then they click in and they're like, yeah, you're right, this is gonna work. Yeah. And let's all work. Let's make this work.
Let's make it happen.
Because there are different. This could go in so many places as long as teamwork makes the dream work.
In your opinion, and thank you for that. In your opinion, what you think is more important, consistency or quality of what you're putting out there?
Quality.
Even at the beginning,
it's inevitable to like, who are you? Like, it depends on who's judging that quality. Is it the quality based on your perspective or from the people tuning into what you've created? Because the moment you put something out into the ether, people are going to have opinions.
Yeah, facts.
You could listen to a track I release and you think it's garbage, but then there's 10 people that think it's the best. But then they'll critique the little things about it, like, yo, the quality isn't good, but the beat is good, let's just say. Or that episode wasn't all good, but I liked his last episode because of the quality or because of whatever. But everyone's going to have their opinion. So for me personally, I think quality, it matters most.
But how are you able to tell the difference between constructive criticism and like something that you're gonna completely dismiss, right? Because I mean, sometimes I think my friends, I got friends that come and give me things, and then sometimes I get irritated a bit because I'm like, this is all you got from this, like you made it sound like way too easy, and sometimes we also know where we're lacking, but unfortunately, like, you have to work at it until it becomes the strongest part of this ecosystem they're trying to build. How do you tell apart from like somebody who's you feel is giving you constructive criticism versus somebody you're like, oh, no, I'm not listening to that at all completely?
You always have to consider the source. Like, where is this coming from? And if it's coming from a place of you're aware that like this person means well, this person has your best interest, then you kind of put value into the feedback. People that you don't even know will always have opinions, but will they matter to you if it's someone you don't really know? Or like, you look at the history of your relationship with that person, like have they ever said anything positive about what I do or about who I am as a person, or who you are, sorry. So you have to consider the source on where information is coming from, and do you allow it to affect you? Do you allow it to reform what you're creating or restructure your mission?
Right.
Or do you just stay with what you know? Gut feeling. Your gut will always give you the answers.
Will give you it's true. Because sometimes too, like, we have people who we want their opinion to matter, but we also got to be careful because a lot of time people will project onto you what they can't do for themselves in a way. Like, it's like they'll tell you everything else, but I'm looking at, it's hard for me, and maybe I'm gonna sound like an asshole at this, but it's hard for me to look at anybody doing anything when I don't see you doing the work. Like, I would listen to somebody who I actually be like, you know what, yo, you show up every week or you show up every day to further you, like, right now, man. Like, so if you're trying to give me an opinion, but you've never actually tried anything.
I use a point system. Like, if you have told me something, you've given me advice 5 times, and each of those times, let's say 4 out of those 5, I took your advice and it worked, I'll keep coming to you. I use a point system. But if you've told me things 5 times and I took that advice and it's brought me to a different side, like a negative side or a place where I did not want to go, I probably won't come to you. I won't trust your opinion. Because sometimes you said something like, you want an opinion of somebody that you shouldn't even ask for an opinion.
Because you're seeking a validation.
You want to be validated and you want that validation from a specific person. But it's like, are they qualified to even give you that advice? But you care about them. Maybe they're good for one thing, but not good for the other stuff that you're looking to them for. So it's just an awareness that you have to have about your circle. Right now, I don't have any friends. I have friends, but the friends that I have, we're working together. And that's what I care about. I have no time being friends with men right now. Like, if you're with me,
talk to me about that. What's
we're running together, or
why?
Like,
so did you completely got rid of?
You have to.
But why?
Because you need that space. You need that freedom. You need that, like, I was on a show a couple days ago, right? And we were talking about like people needing themselves versus people finding themselves by being by themselves versus finding themselves while being around other people. And there were some people that were saying on the show, like, they need other people to find pieces of themselves. I'm the opposite. Like, I need to shut out like the extra stuff that isn't playing a role in what I have going on. And I learned that the hard way because I had a lot of people around me that, like, they just took space. They wasn't really pouring back into into you as a person. Or I felt you're not gaining anything, but sort of like the people around you should help you grow. They should add to your growth, not stunt your growth. And for the longest while, I was in relationships and around people that stunted my growth. And it's not their fault. I play a role in that too, because you're involved in it. But sometimes you're so involved in something that you don't see from the outside looking
You
in.
gotta step back.
You gotta step back.
Facts.
So I stepped back and I saw what the hell is happening to me. And I'm like, yo, I'm stopping myself. I'm stopping my dreams, trying to make these relationships and these friendships work. And it's like, bro,
for what?
I want to go somewhere else. Like I want to be somewhere else next year, you know? And I want to be with people that want the same thing. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm gonna be quite honest with you. It is refreshing having this conversation. Not only that, I think a lot of the times you're talking to people who, once again, haven't, they didn't bet on themselves, right? Like, it's like, I could relate to what you're saying because I'm like, yo, I see what you're doing. I see the work that you're putting in. I know what that journey is like. And I think it's important for people to grasp that concept. It's like, once you start to grow and evolve, you're finding yourself that you almost like you're going to level 2, 3, 4. And then your friends are still like 1, 2 or whatever they are. So it's like
good analogy.
You're dragging them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it feels like,
and you want them to be with you, but they're not there for that.
My friends are complaining like, yo, I called you 3 times. You didn't call me back. I was on
you're
the
recording.
I was recording. I was on the radio. I had a show to host. I have to prepare. I have a wedding. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, why do you always sleep into like, you know what I mean? It's just these small things. You're like, yo, fam, like we shouldn't even be having this conversation, right?
It's weird.
Not refreshing. I wanted to go through actually, because I was going through your website and I seen that few accolades. I was like, oh boy, this guy, you know what I mean? So I wanted to run it through.
Go. I got nervous. Yeah. I got shy.
I mean, I got this from the website, so we'll blame the management team over here now, but I'm just playing.
No.
The nominated for Best Branded Podcast.
Yes.
Officially selected as one of his 2020 shows to be nominated. That's was it Toberfest?
T.O. Webfest.
T.O. Webfest.
Yeah.
Podcast Toronto, chosen as a presenter at 2020 conference, and also a sponsorship with Manscaped.
Yeah. There's just a few things we've accomplished.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of these I didn't even know existed in Toronto. Like I said, when I came into the podcast scene, it was October 2017. I could literally kind of name like or be aware of like podcasts in Toronto. So when I find things, guys like you and things like that, it gets me excited because the more people get into the space, right, the more like, you know, awards can happen and things of that nature. Now, based on what I'm seeing here, clearly you've able to not only identify these outlets, but also know how to tap into it. For somebody listening in from Toronto, what advice would you give them to get into that, or do we need to give management a mic? Because you keep looking over there. I'm like, hey, what's going on?
No. I'm just looking. So I would say, like, and this is not just podcasting, but like anything that you're looking to pursue, immerse yourself into that community.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, let's say there's a pocket over here, and you want to be over there, but you might have to learn some things before, you know, you start your own thing over here. But so let me join this pocket of people, this community, learn some things, take some things away, and then you could start something. Yeah. And that's what I did. I immersed myself into the community. I went to PodCamp Toronto by myself 2 years in a row and soaked things up and learned things, went to certain sessions that were being run by like CBC and introducing myself to people and showing up to like their after party by myself, like just mingling. Before I had the idea, but I didn't have, nothing was created yet, you know? So I just put myself in the mix, soaked things up as like a sponge, and then went back to my little corner and created out of that. So it's things like, you know, building your mailing list, you know, making sure, like, the podcast is not just a podcast, it's also an event series. So people that join the event series component, you know, you build a mailing list off of that. You build a network. You just keep in the know. Join some mailing lists so that you get updates on stuff like submitting your show to whatever, you know, or being aware of the events happening in your city, or like awards and all that jazz. So stuff like that. I don't know if I answered that. Or,
I mean, listen, I'm listening. I'm like taking all that stuff in,
just
right?
throw yourself into the community.
And then the more I talk to you, the more like I'm starting to not triggered, but I'm like
if I was to write a book, that's step one. Immerse yourself into the community.
Yeah. I want to switch gears a little bit and let's talk about you personally, because I think there's something there that I'm sensing.
Yeah.
Even picking a couple of things. Obviously, I mean, I don't know if I should put out there about you fasting. Is that good? Yeah. So like, it's you appear to me to be a very well, like you're disciplined. That's what I'm sensing. You're it's almost like a sixth sense when you have like, because I think we all have like the senses that everybody is aware of.
Yes.
But then some people are able to tap into like a higher version of themselves and to sense that from everybody else they interact with. Let's start with the very basic. Like, what's your background?
Yeah.
Where you born? Where'd you grow up? I'm trying to. I don't know what we're leading to, but like I think that it's interesting because I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm trying to get relaxed because my energy is like I'm just chill. I'm trying to chill. Yeah.
Because I think that you get a better sense of who the person is. Because looking at you, I couldn't even guess.
Neither can I when I look at myself sometimes. Because
I couldn't guess. Like, okay, what's your background or. From the name, it's like it's like, is he French? Is it like I'm like all over the place, right? So break that down for me.
Like my mom's black. My biological mom is black, so you know she's born here, and her father, my grandfather, is Jamaican, and her mother, my grandmother, is from a place called Montserrat in the Caribbean. I don't know if you've heard of Montserrat.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Place, small island, volcano. My father, I don't know who my father is, so clearly I'm some sort of white. But I don't, there's a piece of me that I don't really know, but figuring it out as I go, I guess, you know? So, but I was born here and I was raised, my mom kind of moved us away from like the city and we moved to Niagara for the beginning part of my life.
Okay.
And then we came back when I was much older. I think she felt like we were old enough to kind of be in the streets kind of thing, you know, because I went to French school and stuff like that when I was younger. So she kind of, she took us away and then brought us back when we were a bit older. And my name derives from, it's Greek. My first name's Greek. So it derives from like, it's a derivative of like the Greek god of war, Arys, and that type of background stuff, Greek mythology stuff. My middle name is French, but people make the joke like Déjan mustard. They'll look at it and think it's the mustard, but it's Déjan with the accent. So that's just, I don't know if I'm answering. This is
no. I mean, we're getting warmed up. Okay, this is the.
Can y'all come closer? I need energy. Just stay like.
They're like, oh, we're running.
Yeah.
Don't run. Okay, so that's interesting.
Where are you from? Because I see the flag on your hat, and I'm curious to know if that's...
Yeah, so originally from Niger, West Africa. I spent up until 19, I was in the U.S., Maryland. Moved to Montreal for 6 months. Because my parents, one day, they decided, oh, we're going to Canada. I was like, what's going on? There's no black people in Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, this is me. Yeah. Like, and also and this is crazy because I grew up in America, but America is one of those countries that'll make you almost completely like ignorant to like you cannot function
around you
outside of even just your neighborhood. That's how intense it sounds, right? Like, because when I first heard of Canada, I was scared. I was like, what? Like, I'm not moving to a country when there's no black people. People still live in igloos. This is literally what I was thinking. And I'm like 16, 17, right?
Snow all year round.
I was like, this is mad. This is who lives in this goddamn country? And then you come up here, you're like, oh, wait, what? Like, what's happening? Like, this is completely different. And then you come to a country where, growing up for me, it was all about surviving. Like, every day to me, I was going to war. My humor came from that because I had to be funnier than everybody I've interacted with. So my humor comes from that. And sometimes it's very dark. And I've had to, like, recognize that, you know what? Once I move here after a while, like, I didn't need to show up as that person. I could really...
Just be you.
almost like I
You
get
just be yourself.
like I get a second chance or a renewed identity. Like, I don't need to believe nobody.
Was there some freedom
Of
to
course.
that feeling of freedom?
And this was what kind of like allowed me to tap into things that I truly wanted to do and who I truly wanted to be. And I don't know about you, but like imagine like walking around and you don't have to watch your back every day. Like it sounds very small, but it makes the biggest difference. And then here we are now. And then I go back and, people that I left in that environment is still literally still in that environment. We're like, I'm like 12, 13 years removed. But it's just interesting that the once you leave an environment, like we were saying earlier, you get to really get a better perspective. Like, oh shit, like this is not normal. The things that we're kind of going through. And as I'm talking about that, just from talking to you, have you done any therapy? Do you believe in therapy? Or, I mean, maybe also your name being deriving from the Greek god. I think sometimes you embodied.
I have.
Subconsciously without you've been in therapy.
There's been war.
Yeah,
but I'm trying to get away from that war. Like therapy has really therapy has, like, I'm in 8 sessions in. It's 8 sessions in as of this past week. So
shout out to you, man.
Thank you.
And to be honest, and so I'm not trying to pry into, but I think
that's
a lot of times that like you have a conversation with your peer and you realize, hey, bro, you and I are fighting the same demons. But what tools are you using? Because maybe that could help me. And it's about that to me, right? Because it's like, once again, my environment when I came, what I grew up in, show no love. Love will get you killed.
No love, yeah.
Show no love.
Yeah,
love will get you killed.
Yeah.
I've embodied that till I was mid-20s.
Yeah.
So now imagine the destruction
100%. Self-destruction even.
Into,
there's destruction.
My friendship,
Yeah.
So just the like, and the reason why I like to me, it's important
to that,
if we're aligned to those visions, like let's share that with people that's gonna listen in and be like, yo, like, we go figure this out too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not about even figuring out, but it's about, I'm gonna allow myself to be vulnerable for a moment.
Yes.
And just feel like,
especially as a man or a man of color, like to be vulnerable. It's still in 2021. It's still hard to fathom, or like you don't see it as much because we ought to be hard all the time.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like I just told someone, I know this sounds kind of bad, right? Like I'm just gonna be honest.
Go ahead. That's what we're here
I was saying
for.
it as a joke,
okay?
Because it's not to take away from women, but the idea of a man being so hard all the time is always thrown in our faces, even when dealing with women. So when a woman comes across a soft man, she's expecting you to be hard. So she doesn't expect that vulnerability. So like I was talking to someone and I'm like, yo, I'm like a girl. Like, you think I'm hard? I'm not that hard. Like, you're hurting my feelings. Like I have feelings. Like, like I care about these things. Yeah. And she's like, well, I didn't think you did. And I didn't think I had to care about them because you're a guy. And I'm like, no, I'm thinking about these things. It's just we're not talking about them.
Yeah.
So there's this pressure, like as a man, to always to close yourself off and to be hard all the time and to not be vulnerable. And then you have someone saying, "Oh, it's so great you're vulnerable," but like you have I'm just being me. Like I have to share my experience so that someone could learn from it and to see that like you can be it too. Like we all should be vulnerable. It's not like a special thing that I'm vulnerable. It's we have to be it so that we could learn and live and survive. You know what I'm saying? So therapy is just a component of that. It's not the answer, but it's a route one can take, like a tool. You know what I'm saying? To like get a different perspective on your own life and how you're dealing with things and managing. I was kind of against therapy my entire life because, like, who are you to come and talk to me about me? Who knows me more than me?
To infiltrate my mind.
I'm me.
I've actually never been against it. I just didn't know about it.
You didn't know about it?
Yeah, I didn't know about it. And then I think there was a shift in my life. And I have this thing where I need to be better. Yeah.
You want to be better.
I obsess about improving myself, and that could be on anything. So like when I latch onto something, I'm gonna obsess about it. I'm gonna figure it out. Oh, you don't want to help me do video? Oh, I'm gonna figure this out.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be better than you.
Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, and once again, I think I could understand that it comes from the environment I was in. I was surviving. So like you had to be better than somebody. You had to be stronger, faster, or else you get your ass whooped. So like you can't allow that to happen. So you've embodied it into literally everything that you do. But now I'm aware enough to know that like that doesn't need to be me all the time.
Yeah, I want to ask you about the better part. Like, do you feel like are you at a point now where you're not caring about being better than anybody? You're just like you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, I'm
you're just
like
doing your own thing.
That's
like,
it.
You don't. There is no one. Like no one else exists. Like that's you know, like they exist, but you're not comparing yourself to anybody, or you don't have to be better. You're not in competition with anyone. Yeah, you're really in competition with yourself.
But I do homework. I'm gonna be honest. But yes, what you're saying true. Like I don't feel like, you know, like I'm in competition with anybody else. Yeah. But for example, even you as a podcaster, I'll go check out all your shit. Yeah. I mean, as you could, I don't know if you sent it, but I've done homework on you. You know what I'm saying? Like I've went back, I've listened to old music, and to me it's like, oh shit, like what is he doing that I could take on or tweak in or add to my thing? Because not that like it's a direct competition, but it's definitely like, yeah, I do my homework on everybody, even the person that doesn't think that I'm watching them, because I always want to be prepared. Yes. So that's the part of it that it serves me well. Yes. But that's also the part of it was like, bro, sometimes it's overkill. Like this guy is, not, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like as soon as I see or hear your name, I'm like, I'm learning everything about you, right? Like to the T where I'm in tune with what's going on.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, but that dope, man. Thank you for.
I don't know if I answered the question, but
no, I mean it's. I think we're just exchanging, trying to gain better understanding. I think yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So you said that so you didn't know about the option of therapy and stuff like that. So are you in therapy as well, or like what's your experience?
Right now I have been, and it was stemming from relationships not working and me couldn't figure out like why is this not happening for me. I got to a point where I felt like love is just what we see in Disney movie. Like it's not a thing. Like I'll never fall in love, and then I fall in love, and then that goes to shit, and then it just like I was like one of the most painful part of my life that I could remember as an adult. And at that point, once again, like the heartbreak. But I'm like making it to like, oh my God, like this life is, you know what I mean? And I'm just making shit up. But I was like, it's something there that needs to be addressed, right? Because you get tired of like continuously going through these cycles of relationship, work, and failing.
Cycles of hurt.
And then you go to therapy, you sit down, I'm talking for like 2 hours, and the therapist goes, oh, you was heartbroken. I said, what? Wait, what? You didn't hear nothing I said? Like I'm telling you,
it's deeper than that.
She's like, nah, you were in love. And that's what I was like, oh shit. And then it clicked because I always thought that I never had the ability to fall in love. And then that changed. It changed everything. But then again, when you go to therapy, you realize that like it's deeper than just that. Like that took me there, but then I realized, oh, it was other things that was contributing to that. Yeah. And then you start to peel back and stuff like that.
Do you still believe in love? Like falling in love?
Yeah. Now I know that I can, like for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does love mean to you? Like falling in love? Or being in love. Is there a difference for you, like loving someone and then being in love?
I think that being in love with somebody is having to, as far as how I experienced it, it was like this person was always on, like it didn't matter what they did. You always wanted to be there for them regardless. You wanted to pick up everything that they couldn't really pick up to. So any void that needed to be filled, you were that for that person. At least in that sense, that's how I experienced it. Yes. And then you start to like things that you just hate about everybody else, you love it about that particular person, and it'll be like the dumbest shit. Like I'm a very neat person, and this is a stupid example, but I'm a very like, I like things to be in certain order. And then you with somebody who doesn't care and leave shit all around. And then, that doesn't bother me.
that doesn't bother you.
Whereas in
because
other,
you love them.
yeah,
Because,
and then
yeah.
but other people, that shit would have drove me nuts. Like, you know what I mean? So
I feel you.
I don't know if I'm even putting it right.
No, I
And
get
sometimes
it, I
it's
get it.
hard to like put into words what you feel or how you're feeling and trying to describe it in a way that
A lot of us can't.
other
We
people
cannot.
grasp it.
Us as people, we don't know how to explain ourselves. We don't know how to explain our feelings because you have all these words and these terms that describe feelings that we don't know how to describe. So we think that the word is the description of what we feel when there are layers to that feeling. So like you tell someone you love them, they go, okay, I love you too. But how do you love me? Like, what does that love look like? Like, we think we love each other the same. We would be stupid to think that, but we are stupid. So we think, oh, she said it back to me, so we must feel the same way. But you're two different individuals, and love looks different to both of you. The problem with us is that we're not having those conversations to decipher what love might look like, what understanding, what respect, all of those things. You just think like, yo, you're with someone and these things come with it, and then we're all good, we're on the same page. We're not on the same page. You haven't even spoken to one another. I try to use my words very carefully nowadays in my life. You don't speak to people, you speak with them. You and I, we're speaking together. You're not speaking to me just because you're the host or facts, at you. Like, we're speaking together. So when you're in a relationship with someone, you got to speak with them to understand them more and to figure things out. Any business relationship, whatever, it's all relationships. People, our interactions with each other, these are all different forms of relationships. And that's another thing that hasn't clued in with us. So if we're talking about growth and change, like the next relationship you get in, like I can't get in the next relationship I'm in. I don't know. I feel sorry for that person because I'm so like aware that like they have to be.
But do you think that sometimes it's I use this term and I don't know if it makes sense sometimes. Like sometimes we're too smart for our own good.
Yeah. It could be to your own detriment.
And do you think that it could
be to your own detriment, but there's a balance. Like people will make you think that right thing that you're doing is wrong just because they don't like it or just because they feel like it's unnecessary. Right. But who's to say that communicating in the right way is wrong just because you can't handle the convo? Or that you're not ready to? Like, then why are we together? Why are we even in this together if we're not like building, if we're not communicating, if we're not fucking, if we're not eating together, if we're not going places? Like, I want to go places. And if we're not doing those things, then why are we here?
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point? I want to know how you love me. Oh, you love me? Show me. Tell me. Describe it. Let's write it. Let's get a whiteboard and I'll do my side, you do your side. What does love look like to both of us in this thing that we're sharing? Because we're sleeping in the same bed. We're spending money together. So love? Like what does love
what does it look like?
What does that look like?
Yeah.
And that's something I learned the hard way. You know what I'm saying? I'm only saying these things from experience, not because I'm a know-it-all or an expert. I learned
You've been through that.
It's hard for me to love somebody now because I'm learning to love myself. And I realized I didn't before. So before I love anybody, I gotta love me so that I could give someone some good love at some point. But that person that I want to love, hopefully, she's coming with that same energy to decipher those things to define our love together. You got to define your love with that person you're with. You know what I'm saying?
Knowing everything that you know now, what are some of these generation curses that you're trying to, or you're going to be sure to break? If that makes, if I'm making sense, right? It's like, so once we know all these things, like, what do we do with that? And especially, how do we now make the next generation? Because hopefully, or maybe we'll have kids, maybe we won't, whatever that is. What is some of the things that you're like, you know what, this trauma needs to stop with me? We're not passing that down to
You're killing me right now.
You're
killing me right now. You're fucking killing me.
You're inspiring me from what you're saying. I'm like, I don't even have a script. I'm like,
you're killing me.
You know what I mean? We're just gonna go.
I was having a convo with my sister yesterday about some similar things, and like I call her twin, but she's like my baby sister, But like to me, she reminds me of me. Like we have some similarities, And it's weird that like I go to her to have these types of conversations, even though she's young. Like we could talk like that, So I was kind of talking about those curses, I guess, you know, with her yesterday, and what you do with it, I got to think about it, you know, like it's an awareness that you have to have, like, yo, I'm doing the same thing. I'm the same person. I'm like my mom. And then you catch it the moment. This is the key point. The moment that you say that and catch that, you change it.
Yeah.
If you just acknowledge it and do nothing with that, that's how the cycle repeats. But the moment you're sitting back and you're interacting with someone, you're like, this is like the power of seeing yourself in someone. Yeah. Like if I don't see me in you, then it's like you're not important. Yeah. And that's not right, because you exist, right? So we're connected in some form or fashion. There are a lot of cycles being repeated around us. We don't even see them. So if I can't sit back, talk to you, and I don't see myself in you, and I don't see some similarities, or I don't take anything away, like, yo, you know what? I don't want to do that, or I do want to do that. Like smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So the moment you recognize, like, yo, that's a good quality that person has, and I want to emulate that. Or that's, you know, my aunt, who I love dearly, let's just say, you know, she's kind of toxic. And I see me doing the same things because I learned from her. She raised me. Yeah. If I catch that, I got to change it. Yeah. You have to change it. But then the worst thing a person could do is recognizing that and doing nothing about it. And be like, yeah, I'm just like my aunt. She's toxic. Yeah, I've done some toxic things, but hey, the toxicity must go on. We'd be stupid.
The show must continue. Yeah.
Yeah. But growth is acknowledging something like that and changing it. So that's how you can break the cycle when we have children, because it's in our blood. It's in us. Yeah. And we could pass that down if we don't deal with these things now.
Yeah. Facts.
God, you know, I don't know my dad, whatever, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to be a great dad or father when I have my own child, right? Yeah. But I got to deal with my shit first before I bring any child into this planet, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, you got to catch it.
No, that's dope. And these are the type of conversation you're having on the Who and How Club podcast.
Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was intense, man. The room is quiet. We all in here. I'm listening. I'm taking the shit in. God damn it.
I hate this.
This is what it is. This one, you know, people are listening because everybody's tuning in. But honestly, I appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to ask you about, let's take it back a little bit to the podcast, is that when you're looking at this thing that you created and you're reaching a 50 episode mark, which is big, it was necessary for you to not continue to build up.
Yeah.
What in your, you know, in the euphoric kind of environment, 5 years from now, if you had to walk it through, and I might steal your ideas, just FYI, and I'm just joking.
Go. Ideas are meant to be
How
shared,
do you see this Love Baby project, or however we put it in, where do you see that in 5 years?
You know, in my mind, right? Mm-hmm. There's like a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
So like, you know how I was saying earlier, like we're coming? Mm-hmm. That midpoint will be like we're here. Mm-hmm. And then that end point will be like we're out of here. Mm-hmm. We're gone. Mm-hmm. And the goal is for it to be bigger than just me.
Yeah.
Or us. You know what I'm saying? Like where we could just sit back and it's running on its own.
Yeah.
Where we could remove our hands from it, and it's for the people. It's a club. I put the word club on it for a reason, because as exclusive it is, as exclusive as it is, it's also inclusive. So it's for the people. We give it, and it runs on its own, and then we go build something else, you know. And it's gonna happen sooner than 5 years in my mind. You know, it's 2 years. It's 1 year from today. Mm-hmm. Next year, July 4th. We're somewhere else with this thing, and it's like, we're coming, we're here, and we're gone in my mind. And it's gonna the Who and How brand will be not just a podcast and not just an event series, not just a blog, but a movement, you know, a live show, a foundation, a not-for-profit organization, you know, a record label, you know, like it's gonna be more than just what it is right now. So
there is the exit strategy is to have it
operate on
its own without you actually needing to be the face of everything like that, which is dope. That's actually dope. This is actually why I named my podcast Activated Podcast, because I didn't want nothing to do with me personally, even though like this literally is me, like I'm everything, but I look at it like, when Steve Cook or whatever else, when they created Apple, they didn't call it Steve Cook or whatever else, Tim Cook. They didn't put their name in it. Their name is in it, but it's like you're allowing something to grow and then people to associate it to that. And I think that from the examples I've seen, people always want to be. People have a hard time playing the back because we're in love with clout. Like clout is the driver. Like I've literally had a conversation yesterday with my friends. They're like, because we're talking about how to brand and promote or whatever. And then I was saying like, yeah, I'm a host, I'm an MC, but these are things that I do. That's not who I am all the time. Yeah. So then the branding is different, how I post and stuff like that. And they was like, oh, you know what? That's the problem. You got to do. I was like, but
we're narcissists. We're not. A lot of us are very vain, and we're narcissists. You know, so for someone to name, if you called it the Ibou podcast, you could. It's your name. You find power in your name and putting your name and attaching it to something. But why would you do that? Yeah. You already exist. So why not create something that doesn't exist? Because then that's like a legacy that you could leave behind. Yeah. And like the who and how, it's like we are the who's and hows of this world. I am a who and I'm a how. So I'm already there. So you remove yourself from it and it's like it's us. Yeah. Without you, without me, there is no we. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's trying to let go of vanity. It's trying to let go of narcissism. Facts. You know what I mean? And to understand that it's bigger than you. Yeah. It's bigger than just this person. Because you're already living you. You're already here. It's you. Like you are the star of your movie. So what more do you need? Give something. Give. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's the goal. And I get what you're saying, just I like the name of your show because it reminds me of like I'll close my eyes and I envision something inside of me being activated when it's time to go. Yeah. Like, like I was telling Bryce on the way here, like I feel away right now on this drive here, but I know once I get on the show, something's going to kick in. It'll be activated. Like on show, like when performing, I'll be nervous, like Eminem 8 Mile throwing up, mom spaghetti on my sweater. But when I hit the stage,
it's a different ballgame.
I'm not, they don't know, they'll never know that I was nervous. Yeah. But I'm nervous in the back. I'm shitting myself, everything. But I get on stage, activated. It's like who I was meant to be is
that's
here,
a fact.
So
that's actually when I knew that it was in me to host and to be in front of a crowd. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Afrofest, and it's about 50,000 people. And then first time I got on there, I did it. First time ever. They throw me on there, and then obviously, like you're saying, like you're nervous, you're in the back, you're taking shot. Like I can't even drink before I get on stage because
I don't drink. I don't smoke weed. I never tried weed, nothing. So I have to deal with these nerves
in real time
in the mirror. Like
I mean, I think once the show goes on, I could kind of like relax a lot more. But like I said, to me, this is work, so I need to go in there and do it. Yeah. And people always say, "Yo, how you not nervous?" I was like, "No, I am nervous.
I am nervous
all the time, especially when you get in front of a crowd." But I was like, that tells you how much you care about this thing.
You just took the word. Like, if you're not nervous, there's a problem. Yeah. That's how I feel. Like, if I'm not nervous, that means I'm bored of this. Like, I love speaking with people, but, like, I'm nervous today because, like, I want it to be good. I want to have a good conversation. I want to convey what I'm saying in the proper manner. Yeah. And hopefully, it's energy. Energy is everything. Yeah. So if there's no nervousness or anything, like, it's like, it's not fun anymore, Yeah. But it'll always be fun.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was my guy. Listen, man, I think Arys, we're gonna be in touch for some time to come. And it's funny enough, like I met so many people doing this podcast that have infiltrated in different parts of my life that never would have happened if it wasn't because of the podcast. So I thank you for pulling up. Shout out to the team for being here as well. Yeah. They taking. I hope you got my good side. Did they taking pictures? I want to look good in these pictures too. You know what I mean? Don't make me look, but I'm gonna blame you. But honestly, thank you. Before you go, obviously, plug in last thing. How do people get in contact with you? How do they, reach to your podcast and let us know if you got anything that you're working on coming up in the next short future.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Arys Déjan. Thank you for having me. Shout out to the Activated Podcast and Ibou. You know where to find me, at whohowclub on all the social media platforms. That's for the Who and How Club podcast, event series, blog, and movement. Look up the website, whohowclub.com, or follow me personally at only1arys, ONLY, the number 1, ARYS. You'll find all my links and everything like that. Look out for the Maryland Sun EP coming out soon. We're working on just some new projects, new creative things that we're just going to present to the world. And you know the slogan, you know, you are the Who and How Club, I am the Who and How Club, and we are the Who's and How's of this world. Ibou, you're a part of the club too, you know, after today. So I really appreciate you having me on the show. Shout out to the Quiet Council. That's our management agency. And you'll be seeing us. We're coming.
Thank you. Well, for everybody else tuning in, thanks again for tuning in. This is the Activated Podcast, and you've officially been activated.